All right, everybody. I'm so excited to have another episode of Shelbie Says podcast. We have some special guests with us today that I'm excited to introduce. We have Kimberly and Jennifer here from Beauty Counter, which I know that you guys have heard so much about. We're going to do a deep dive back in our episode with Kat, where we talked all things clean nutrition. She brought up Beauty Counter as well, saying that it was one of her top rated beauty brands. It's something that she thinks every woman should have. And I'm so excited to talk to them about the brand, about how they got started in their clean beauty journey, and how you can get started on yours as well. So hello, ladies. How are you doing?
Hello.
Shelby, thanks for having us.
Hey, yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
I'm so excited to have you guys here. So I just wanted to get started a little bit on how we know each other. Kimberly, I met you first back when I worked in my retail sales days. We were shopping buddies there for a while. And you and your daughter would come in and shop, and you always had such beautiful makeup and such beautiful skin. So it makes sense that you're with Beauty Counter now.
Thank you.
And Jennifer, we're just meeting now, but I can already tell that you have the best energy, the best vibes. I'm excited to be talking with you and kind of digging a little bit deeper into your journey as well.
Thank you. Talking clean beauty with a good friend, Kimberly, is always a fun thing to do. So thanks for having us.
Yeah. So how do you guys know each other? That's something I'm interested in as well.
Well,
We met
thanks
through
to
the brand, right?
thanks to Clean Beauty.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And
we
the
know
way
each other.
Beauty Counter works is you get a mentor, and I happen to be the lucky one to be Kimberly's mentor, but really we're partners.
Oh, and I love that experience too. Whenever I worked in sales or when I worked retail, they would always give us a sales assistant that we partnered with. And I feel like you create the best bonds with women that way, just kind of having somebody that you can ask all your questions to, and you just can really connect with them. And some of them were at my wedding and some of my closest friends to this day. So that's amazing. Let's see. Okay, I want to get, so before we start the podcast off going all things Beauty Counter, I always ask my guests the same starter questions. So the first one is, what is something that you've been kind of obsessed with lately? And I'll go first just to give you an example. Don't come for me. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not a big Taylor Swift person. It's never just been, she has a couple songs that I like, but I've been a little too invested in her recently, her relationship, her going to football games. I'm just all about it. I don't know why, but that's something I've been obsessed with along with Saturday Night Live. Kimberly, what's something that you would say that you've been obsessed with lately?
So, yes. So I don't know if it paused. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
So what I've been into lately, I do have two girls, so Taylor Swift is always at the top. And with the latest. But actually, I'm really into, like I was thinking about, I think one that we were looking at some things, and trench coats are in my heart. Like I want like a rain trench coat. Really long, and I like the really long neck. So I'm trying to keep up with fashion. I'm not sure where that
all
is,
of the fashion sides. Yeah, like I've always have Pinterest up in the background and checking in all of the new fashion girlies what they're wearing. So I can totally relate to that as well. And Jennifer, what about you?
It is fashion, so you know that Kimberly is a clothes and fashion person for sure. For me, I'm going to say two things actually. Women's empowerment, since you brought up Taylor, and just so many women in this, coming out of 2023, it was the year of Barbie. It was just so much Beyonce, Taylor Swift. I just have been inspired by all the women in creative and power positions. But I'm also a little bit obsessed right now with travel, because
yes,
all of that pent up, like wanting to travel. And right now, as we record this, it's kind of cold and dreary. So I am obsessed with spring coming and getting outside and traveling. So that's what's on my mind.
Oh, I've definitely been having the travel bug recently as well. I don't know if that'll ever go away for me. that actually is one of the reasons that me and Kimberly reconnected, is that we went to France last year and we learned so much about their skincare and their beauty routines. And that's just been something that's on my mind a lot recently as well. But the next question that I have that I always like to ask is, what is in your browser? Like, what is something that you're shopping for right now? Mine, I always have Pinterest, but right now I have the Victoria Paris Fragile, I think is how you pronounce it, or Fragile line. She just did a pop-up in New York City. She's actually a Wake Forest, North Carolina native, and she blew up on TikTok and YouTube, and she just has amazing fashion and has such a strong sense of style. Speaking of women with fashion and style going on. And it's really cool that she came from North Carolina and now she is co-launching a jewelry brand, which I love because jewelry is something that I've always loved so much. So that's something that's in my browser right now. On the 16th, I think it goes live. So I'm just like patiently waiting to see if they have the pieces I want left by then. But Kimberly, what about you? What's something that's been in your browser lately?
In mine lately, really, I think really because of my Instagram and what I look at a lot is just anything clean beauty, clean like fragrance. And one of my daughters and I went to the Ball Harbor, I guess you call it an exhibit that had all these high-end fashion stores, like in these, it was really cool. They were in these tractor
shipping containers. Yeah. Oh, I bet that was the best. Nice. Yeah. Nothing makes my head hurt worse or makes me more nauseous than like walking into a Bath and Body Works. And yeah, I know. It's perfume is a big one, especially with Valentine's Day tomorrow. I didn't even realize.
Okay, mine's gonna piggyback.
It's a big gift for people too. So we're wanting to keep it clean. Jennifer, what about you? What's been in your browser lately?
So right now, because Valentine's Day is coming up, and not that this will be here in time, but I'm looking at it. Votivo is a clean candle company because, like Kimberly, with scents, I have not worn fragrance for years and years and years because what has been available has not kind of met my criteria for what I want to be putting on my body and just exposing my family to. So when I can find a really beautiful, clean fragrance company, whether it's actual like parfum, which I'm super excited about, or even household, Votivo, it's called Red Currant. I was at a friend's house. I smelled it and I was like, I have to have that. And in searching all the ingredients, they don't use phthalates. They don't use, a lot of the artificial fragrances that are so very, very pungent and long lasting because they are not good for you and they're sustained with chemicals. And this is to die for, the scent. So I'm super excited about that.
Awesome. Votivo. Yeah, I'll have to get that more information because we're always looking for clean candles. I know before we started the podcast, so pre-pod, we were, Jennifer and I were getting to know each other and I was letting her know that I have an 11-year-old and I don't know what it is. I see this on TikTok and Instagram. They call them like the drunk elephant 11-year-olds. And you're like, oh, like you don't want them to have those toxic chemicals on their skin. And they all see the influencers that have the room with all the candles. And my daughter wants to have all these candles around. And of course, my parents are not, and my grandparents especially, are not thinking about those things. They don't think about harmful hormones being added into fragrances. So they load her up with like the body scrubs. And like, as soon as she opened them, I was in the living room and she was taking a shower and I knock on the door. I'm like, what is that smell? Like, do not put that on your body. Like my eyes are watering. This is the strongest scent. So we're having to fight back on that battle on pretty much a daily basis at this point. But wanted to jump in It is. Cause then she has all her friends that are like, oh, we're using all of these body scrubs and scents. And it's just the pressure of that plus the social media where she doesn't have social media, but she can still see it. I mean, it's everywhere, the marketing for all of these products. So it is difficult, but that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to bring you guys on here as well. A lot of my friends have little girls. I do myself, who we want to get them started on the right foot. We want to get them into the clean beauty from a young age. So it's more of a standard. Yes. So it's been a difficult transition from the toxic beauty that me and my friends, and I'm 31. So most of my friends are in like their late 20s and to mid 30 range. And we've all used the toxic products forever. I mean, it's just been, first of all, it was more affordable for us to do that. But we didn't even think about it. So having to make the transition later in life, I feel like is a little bit stressful because you have to ditch all the stuff that's been quote unquote working, but has it really been working if it's disrupting your hormones and stuff? So we're wanting to get our younger daughters and ourselves on the right track. So one thing I always like to ask when we're talking to experts in a specific field is, what was your first memory with skincare? So I know mine was watching my grandmother do her makeup, and she would have this routine and she would take this brush and brush her arms. And I just remember just sitting on her bed and watching her at a vanity doing her makeup. So Kimberly, I can start with you if you'd like. What do you have like a first memory of what kind of got you clued into skincare?
Yes, the first was just like you, my grandmother. Now, Jen and I were talking about this, and just like it was almost like this self-love. She would just go in there. I think it was just Pond's. I don't think she had like layers and layers of serums and everything, but it was just this really taking care of herself and just making sure that she looked as good as she could and felt. Because as we were talking earlier, I mean, the better you look, the better you feel, and the more you're going to go out there and show up for the world. So it really was just taking care of yourself, and wow, and what we've learned since then.
Yeah. Jennifer, what about you? What was your first memory of skincare?
One of my first memories, and this was from a commercial on television. We don't like
kind of go
commercials anymore. But yes. So there was a product called Sea Breeze. I don't even know if it's around anymore.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? So I am older than you, Shelby, but at the time, when you're a teenager, your biggest concern, at least back then, was like keeping your skin clear, no breakouts. And you would take any product to just keep your skin clear. And that, talking about coming a really long way since what we didn't know when we were younger women. I mean, that would just like strip your skin and you're like burning your face off thinking, oh, I'm doing something good. So the good news is, Shelby, when you're saying like sort of switching later in life a little bit to cleaner products, there are great products now. When I was starting out finding products, like those didn't really exist as an option. So at least there's something really good to switch to. I was using Sea Breeze, which is basically like rubbing alcohol with some fragrance. So it's terrible. And I've had to learn that, balancing your skin is actually what you want to do for all ages and stages. So yes, that's and it's a memory because you can still smell it and feel it. That stuff was so strong.
And I remember that too. I remember going over to girlfriends' houses for sleepovers, and before you would get ready to go to bed, they would take a cotton ball and rubbing alcohol, and you would want to put rubbing alcohol, especially across your nose to make sure you didn't get any blackheads. They were like, dry everything out. And I'm like, why did we do that? So I know you touched on this a little bit, but how do you think that, that has shaped you in the way that you took care of your skin or are starting to take care of your skin now? I know you mentioned seeing it as more of an active self-love, which I love that example because I feel like we are at a time where people are starting to realize that caring for yourself is an act of self-love. I just wanted to know if that, seeing your grandmother do things like that, or, having that harsher routine of the sea breeze or the rubbing alcohol, if that's kind of affected you with your skincare now.
I know. I was just trying to think about, because I am a little bit older than you are, Shelby. I was like, what did I use when I was 20 or 30? But I do, I mean, I do feel like really just watching my grandmother, and, she just looks so nice. And we do want to, the teenagers, you want to look your best. You don't want to have all the, acne or any, other blemishes. But I mean, I really just think, and even then, I think I just used, like a wash and maybe a moisturizer. And then, some of my friends, I think, started using Clinique, and, I thought it was just way too expensive. So I didn't go that route. And I think just really finding Beautycounter and understanding what I was putting on my skin as I got a little bit older, and what was available and not available, really, I guess, affected the way I take care of my skin now. And just, I didn't even get facials back then. I don't do very many facials now. So I think just really from the beginning, just taking care of yourself. And that's what I think skincare is so important.
I agree. Jennifer, what about you? What do you think those early memories of how you took care of your skin in your teen and 20 years, how has that kind of shaped how you think about self-care or skincare now?
Well, in those early years, I mean, I did use products that I felt like, your basic moisturizer and just taking care of your skin. I remember when I was probably a littler girl, the neighbor with like the Mary Kay palette that you would pull out, and she'd be like, you take this blue and you put this here and this pink. And so I was definitely fascinated by products and like the transformation. But probably even more so, I started to become aware pretty early on of this feeling of like extra chemicals that I didn't want to be exposed to. I grew up in an area that there was a factory not that far. And at the certain days when the wind was not right, like you could smell chemicals coming off. And so I started becoming really aware of like, what is that doing to our water, our just breathing the air even. And it started to translate for me at a pretty early age, before really there was a clean beauty type thing, um, into being concerned and a little skeptical about what is in things. So some of it was smells. If something smelled super strong, I was starting to go like, oh, I want to stay away from that. That's just too fragrance. It's too much chemical. So I didn't know what was safe, what wasn't, but I had this sort of sense that keeping it simple was a really important choice. And then that led me into just basic skincare, but then into being open to safer choices when they started to arrive with companies like Beautycounter and a few early companies, but not many. We're really definitely one of the leaders.
I have an add on to that.
Yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, go ahead.
How that evolved too is I think like we all, like as a community, started exercising and taking care of ourselves with food and what we ate. And I think that when we found out that what you put on your body affects your whole health just as much as what you put in your body, that was just such a big eye opener for me, because I really was I'm a healthier eater and would try to 80-20, maybe 60-40.
As long as wine doesn't disqualify.
But, so I think like that really was a huge eye opener. Like that really, our skin's our largest organ, and a lot of people don't understand that what you put on just affects just as much as you put in your body. So,
So I agree 100%. And I do feel like I was more in line with Jennifer's early experience. I had really honestly debilitating eczema when I was starting in second and third grade. I'd always had it. And then in third grade, it was equivalent to second degree infection all over because the eczema was so bad. So my whole body was like a big scab. So I couldn't go to school. I had to get these steroid injections. I had to start, and this was probably in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I had to do like the steroid injections, and they introduced, they wanted to do the topical steroids, and my parents didn't want to do that. So we went to a holistic doctor instead, because that was kind of more my parents' way of handling things, which I really appreciate because I've seen people go through topical steroid withdrawals and it looks awful. And so I had to do like a gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free diet to try to help just my eczema alone. And from that point, they were like, you need to look at the dyes in her clothes, if she's going to be sweating in the clothes, and she can't have any fragrance in anything. So that kind of woke me up to, this stuff will affect you, because I was in the hospital because of it. Like the lotions my mom was using that had fragrances, they were like, it's causing her to like scratch more in the night or whatever. So I had to get, at the time, I think that like there was maybe 2 options available that weren't medical grade lotions, and because it just wasn't talked about as much. So you guys were starting to touch on this as well, but I feel like, you know, as a collective, everybody started focusing on ingredients. And I don't know if it was, I know it started becoming more noticeable to me after like the lockdown or 2020, that everybody was going through their ingredients list and really focusing on foods and, you know, everything. So if you had to pick your never ingredient or ingredients, do you have certain things that if you see it in anything that you're like, I will never compromise on a product that has this ingredient in it? Do you have your absolutely not list of ingredients? Jennifer, you can go first this time if you'd like.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, yeah. So it's actually the word fragrance on a label. If I turn a label over and fragrance is there, that's in the no-no pile. And BEAUTYCOUNTER, you know, starting to work for them in 2013 when we first launched, we had something called a never list. So our never list, it started with 1,800 ingredients. We're up to 2,800 ingredients. So
oh my gosh,
it's hard to pick just one.
right.
But fragrance always, and that's the nice thing, is I don't have to anymore. But fragrance is always the simplest thing when people, and it feels complicated and overwhelming, because there are some very clean and safe ingredients that sound like a scary chemical on a label.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so there's some preservatives like phenoxyethanol that you're thinking, ooh, that sounds like it might be bad. Well, we've done studies, we've commissioned studies with Tufts University, because you need to have a safe preservative in products. You don't want mold or bacteria to go in your products, but a safe alternative that's been tested for human health, and that there's data, not just marketing, but actual science, is key. So fragrance is the one thing that I think, if to keep it simple, if you're looking at a label and it's on there, it's a loophole that companies can use because it's considered a trade secret to put any ingredient. So number one, you don't know what fragrance actually is. And number two, you can bet that if it has fragrance, it has something called phthalates in it. And phthalates are very hormone disrupting to human beings. So whether you're, you know, a young girl going through puberty, or in your, you know, older years, more mature, and you're at the height of fertility and wanting to have a family, like it's just, or going through menopause, having hormone disrupting chemicals be added to the mix of your body from some outside sources is the big no-no. So fragrance is it. Now, that doesn't mean it has to smell bad, because
right.
lavender smells nice, vanilla sounds nice, but those are the ingredients. That's not perfume or fragrance. So that's what I look for.
And I love that.
That's a good rule to follow too.
Yeah, it's a great rule to follow, because it's always, I mean, you can just turn the package around. If it's usually down at the bottom and it just has fragrance, that's where they put all the other ingredients in there. So, and I love how you brought up the one with hormone disruptors, because I think a lot of people are, I mean, definitely PFAS are like on the top list, because I think that's in everything. So that's something to really look for. But a lot of people think, and there's that you have to look for ingredients that are cancer causing, but I think they forget about the hormone disrupting chemicals. So I think that's really, I think it's important to look at both, and just the toxicity level of the ingredients all the way to allergies too. So, I mean, I don't really have like a one, I don't know. I just like to read the back of the labels. But like there's a site that you can look on that does have like if it's cancer or allergies, and it's really interesting to see if it might be a great product, but the allergy test is high, and it's, I have so many nieces and nephews that have so many different allergies. I'm like, well, you need to look at it for this right now, but it's going to be a bonus if it helps you with hormones disruptors or all the way to cancer too. So I'm just talking about the Never List and another app that you can look at for ingredients.
Right. The app is
Yeah.
EWG, right? Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
EWG,
nice.
which is short for Environmental Working Group, is such a great resource. I recommend that to everyone. It's a nonprofit. It's, nonpartisan. It is a consumer protection kind of company, not company. It's a nonprofit. And they take thousands and thousands of products, and there are so many thousands of products out there, and they rate them for toxicity. It's, green, orange, red, and it tells you why. So what you're saying, with Kimberley, like if it's a high toxicity and it's a red, but it's because of allergies or irritation, and it doesn't irritate you, then okay, maybe that's not a big deal. If you're somebody with super sensitive experience like you, Shelby, you want to stay away from that.
Yeah.
If it's hormone disrupting, then
Right.
nobody needs to have that. So that's a great resource for being able to decipher, because I'm not a chemist or an expert. I know what I know, but I love to have those resources to help me.
And like we say too,
It is
I
so
love
nice to have somebody that researches for you.
I know. And that's why I like our Never List that's gone all the way up to 2,800 ingredients. Like, we've already done the homework for you in this company, like, to keep you safe.
I feel like that is so helpful now, because we're in the age where everybody wants the instant results. And yes, I do want to have cleaner skincare, but I don't want to have to research it. Like you said, like I'm not a chemist. I don't, and I don't want to be crossing out ingredients that are actually needed, like something that's going to keep it from growing mold inside, or, so it is nice to have something like Beautycounter where they did the research for you. It's a trusted source. You guys have been around for a while, and you have great products, and you also have resources and research, true research, like you mentioned, not just market research, just to have kind of that stamp of approval from like an imaginary source, I feel like makes such a huge impact. I know that my, experience with eczema, and I've had some anaphylaxis with products and stuff in the past, had me kind of zone in on the things that we bring into our house, obviously, and put on our skin. And just having a young daughter, that's also made me really think about just having that be, again, part of her routine. Is there anything specific, like an event? I know, Jennifer, you mentioned being around chemicals from a younger age kind of had you clue in, and you can smell it. Like when you even passed the perfumes, you knew when a chemical was in a product that probably wasn't the best for you. Kimberley, did you have an event or anything that happened that made you really kind of lock in? I know that a lot of people have had experiences like that recently.
Definitely. I mean, like you, Shelby, you had this experience with eczema that was really, sounds like systemic, that made you have to really assess everything. And for me, I had a couple of miscarriages, and that raised a big question mark. What is happening to, and that's very, very common among women. Maybe more than it has been in generations past. And I have many friends who, now I'm a little bit on the other side of this, but who, when we were having babies, struggled with fertility, with being able to get pregnant more than, in prior generations. And my mom is a breast cancer survivor, and, very healthy, active, all those things. And so these things, it was really kind of the combination of looking around and seeing these systemic public health things, and things that were really hitting close to home, with your mother, my mother having cancer, and friends, dear friends who trying for years to get pregnant and couldn't. And that made me start to look at all the things, and all the things definitely includes skincare and makeup and all of that. So, and so many women, when they have to go down this fertility journey where they need extra help to figure out what is going on and how to help them achieve their goals, many times the first thing that a doctor says is like, well, stop using all your products. And that's for the first time, they're like, what? Why? Because if I shouldn't be using this now, I shouldn't ever be using it.
And you might have already been using it for decades and not known it was bad for you. So totally understand that. Kimberly, did you have an experience similar or like that you wanted to share as well?
I mean, it's kind of sad that it's very similar, that there's, I mean, just infertility, just cancer, breast cancer, friends around us. But the one thing, just from learning this and being a part of Beauty Counter, is that just trying to teach other women this. And, the minute you hear something that one woman's struggling with, infertility, or friends with breast cancer, it's just, are you aware that there's if your doctor told you to stop the products, do you know why? Like, what all is going on? And I think a lot of us in Beauty Counter kind of get that feisty madness. Like, it makes you kind of mad that you're like, why did I use that? And why didn't we know about it? And I think just that fire kind of lit for me, because I'm older. So my girls did start off using some of the terrible stuff. And I'm like, so I think for me, it's more my girls at my age that really lit a fire under me, and just really want to be a part of this.
So I feel like
better choices, right?
Exactly. And I know better. And sometimes you can't help it when grandma gifts your daughter something, and then you have to deal with it for the 3 weeks that it lasts.
You pick your battles, right?
Yeah.
80/20.
So how did you guys get started with Beauty Counter? I mean, this sounds like a phenomenal company, but just a mission really to kind of spread this awareness to women. This is why I really wanted to have you guys on the podcast, so that we could share this with women, that there is cleaner options out there. So just tell me about how you got started with the company. I know you guys are a mentor and mentee and now partners, which is amazing. So yeah, do you want to share a little bit about what got you started in with Beauty Counter?
I'll let Jen go first, since she's my mentor, and then I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Well, Kimberly and I were fortunate because we were introduced to Beauty Counter in the year that it was founded. So 2013.
Excellent. Nice.
So we had an opportunity to really be part of early change, and Beauty Counter has been the leader in clean beauty. That was a time when people were talking about clean beauty wasn't really even a term. It was non-toxic, which non-toxic is not that sexy. You're like, right. I have this great non-toxic stuff, right? Oh, I want non-toxic. And people didn't know what it was. A lot of times people would say, oh, is this organic or is that organic? When the reality is, water is a chemical and poison ivy is all natural. And so it's a different conversation than organic, natural, chemical. It's really about coming down to safe, which means, is it synthetic, but it's been tested for human health? Or is it natural and it grows? And if that's the case, most of the time, it's going to be organic as a better choice. So it's a little bit more nuanced than that. And, Shelby, you said, a lot of my friends at this stage of life were sort of switching to clean beauty. And so clean beauty was actually and Beauty Counter was the most Googled brand, not just like beauty brand, but like brand in Google. This is just a metric. So this is like not a marketing thing. In 2018.
Nice. Yeah. Huge.
I'm really turning. So we were part of that early education and awareness and advocacy. I went to Washington, D.C. with Beauty Counter and sat in front of different members of Congress and their staffers to educate them. And I can't remember which member of Congress we were with. I think it was from Virginia. And their staffer that does the health issues said, this matters to me. Like, I am a yoga instructor too. So health matters. And so knowing that my products that I need to be concerned about what's in them because it's not something that's regulated. There are many ingredients that are not good for us. That matters to me. So Beauty Counter, fortunately, both of us just had the good fortune to learn about it in early days and then to be part of educating and change. And we created this momentum, right? I mean, Google is pretty big with being
huge.
the top search in 2018. And that was pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Once the pandemic hit, we were all like in our little cocoons doing all the product and just digging deep, like you said, Shelby. So that's how I became kind of involved in and excited about it, is meeting our founder and CEO who had this great vision of educating and changing the industry through advocacy and creating a safer product.
Yes.
That is
Kimberley,
amazing. So cool that you got to talk with Congress too.
What did you say, Jen?
I was saying, I know that both of us had part of that beginning, but also performance was like a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah. So a friend of Jen and I introduced Beauty Counter to me, and in 2013, and it was actually FOMO. I was like, you're missing out on something that I didn't know about. And I was like, if I don't know it, I've got to go tell everybody else. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to tell other people. So it was that plus meeting Greg that first year, and she was just phenomenal, our CEO. Just a woman-led brand. This was out to just change the world, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I wanted to show my girls that, that women rule, and that we can make a big change in our world through just knowing better and doing better. And so really the momentum was crazy. We started off with, I think, 9 products. Is that right, Jen? And so we had these 9 little products and then, just started sharing. And we have, I don't know what, 180, 90,
over 200 products now. Yeah.
So that's really, and the mission really spoke to me. It's just something that you just couldn't unlearn, and you can't keep it to yourself. And why not be a part of history and just share it with others and let them take their information and try to do better for themselves as well. So.
And it sounds like Beauty Counter is having such a large impact on the beauty industry as a whole. Not only, like we mentioned earlier, giving women something that they can feel confident in purchasing, knowing it's going to be safe for them, knowing it's going to be safe for their hormones, non-cancer causing, going to be safe for their kids. But also, like you said, you were speaking in front of Congress and you were trying to make it so that our standards are higher. I mean, when we were in France, their standards for food and products were so much higher that we felt a lot more confident, if we needed to grab a medication, and we don't really speak French. So we felt a little bit more confident taking it because their regulations are so much higher than they are here in the States. So it sounds like Beauty Counter is really kind of the bull that's pushing all of that forward for everybody. Which is incredible for you guys to be a part of. I'm so proud of you guys for that. It still can be a little bit overwhelming getting started into a beauty journey like this. So does Beauty Counter, or do you guys offer help to get people started and helping them understand what products to get started with? Or do you have anything that you recommend as like a bundle if someone wants to just jumpstart a new skincare routine with Beauty Counter?
I have one thought, and I'll let we can both talk about this. At the very beginning, if someone just says, "I want to start with something clean," I usually just say, "Is there this one product at home you can't live without? Is there a cleanser or moisturizer that you just really can't live without? Why don't you start with that?" And then we do go all into regimens and collections that you get at a different at a discount. So it just depends on, I want to help people where they are with their money to start clean and kind of build from there. If you're all in and are ready to throw everything out of your drawers, which
was.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like you don't want the nasty stuff anymore.
speaking of throwing out, like the first time that I used Beautycounter in 2013, that feeling of like just washing your face with something clean was, I don't know, it's the funnest feeling. Like you're like, I cannot wait to wake up the next day and wash my face or wash my face at night, because it's just, you're doing so good. So that's my thought on that. And I don't know if Jen, if you want to speak to the collections or regimens or.
No, it's true. And I mean, it is an experience too, Kimberly. So even if someone is starting with 1 or 2 products, there's something about it. I mean, why do people go to Whole Foods and shop, right? Why do you shop for your kid there? Like, you feel good about your choices because you trust that that brand has a healthier standard for everything really that comes through their doors. And Beautycounter is very much that way too. So even if it's 1 or 2 products, even if it's switching out a cleanser and your sunscreen, that's a great start.
Yeah.
I will say the regimen is absolutely the way to go, because it can be overwhelming to know what to do. And Beautycounter has made it really accessible by bundling and discounting to be able to get kind of like what you need in one at one time. So there are 3 core lines. Anti-aging, that is my camp all the way. I turned 50 this year, and I'm like, give me all the anti-aging and then give me some more. So we have an incredible anti-aging line that uses safe ingredients. So like retinol is an effective ingredient, but it is on Beautycounter's never list for health concerns. So we have a botanical, really potent and effective ingredient equivalent. It's called bakuchiol. It's very fun to say, bakuchiol. So Google it, you'll see. But it's as effective as Retin-A's, but without the other concerns. So we've got this great anti-aging line. We have a great line.
Pink bottles.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. We have, yes, because the experience of it is part of what is, a ritual or a beauty ritual.
And the aesthetic and then we have on your counter looks so
balanced
nice.
line. So like, it does. It's motivating to use it, right? When you're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then we have this line that's balancing skin, and then we have a line for keeping skin clear. So your alternative to that crazy sea breeze I used decades ago, that's effective and safe and really balanced for your skin. So those regimens have a great bundled discount. And most people, they'll replace 1 or 2 products because of the run out rate. But to get started with a regimen is such a great way to kind of wrap your arms around it, save money, and know that you have a complete system with a cleanser, a prep step that's going to get your skin prepped, a treatment step, whether that's anti-aging kind of treatment or keeping your skin clear treatment, and then a protect with moisturizer. So it's complete, and all of them are very long lasting. So there's a great value there too.
Excellent. Excellent. I just took a couple notes of which regimens I think I would want to get started with. So what is your role with Beautycounter now? I know that you guys kind of started in that 2013 era. So you guys have been there for 10-ish years, maybe going on 11. So what is your role with the company now? I know that you said you were speaking with people and you have mentors that you're working with. So what does that kind of look like with Beautycounter?
Well, as you can see, Jen is a rock star. She is our Beautycounter rock star. Like she should wear the badge of Beautycounter.
Really too much.
But we're all brand
You're like, no, stop. But tell me a couple more.
Yeah.
Am I turning red?
Jen is our fearless leader. She's amazing.
Yes, I am turning red now.
Jen can do all.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, we're all brand advocates, and we all are out for the same mission, I think, to just share clean beauty and give people the information so that they can just go make better choices. And we can do that through so many ways, like through one-on-ones, pop-ups, meetings, opportunity meetings, just girls' night, just get together as consultants or brand advocates. We travel together. We, I don't know, it's just an incredible community of women and a couple of men. You good
man.
But I mean, we do have a lot of roles, but it's such an exciting and fun community that you don't even feel like now that I'm starting to list all the things that we kind of do, you're like, wow, we do a lot as an advocate, but it's so fun. But I'll let you speak, Jen.
It really is. Well, we partner together. I mean, I was one of the founding members, kind of got the ball rolling. So I do get to partner with a lot of people. So that's, I think, why Kimberly's given me that position. But we all are absolutely like arms locked, working together for the exact same thing. And we come from different backgrounds and different, some of us are boy moms or girl moms or working women or, you know, we're into fitness or we have business backgrounds. So we have every different background, all different, everything, ages, race, seasons of life, careers, geography. We're in Canada, we're in the US. So, military, women, like we have so much diversity, which is really exciting, but we all partner together in this one way to really help to educate and inform and help people. And as brand advocates, one of the fun things we do, advocacy and our mission, we're passionate about that. And the fun is we have great freaking products that you want to use. Like when I first started doing this, I was like, I have a background prior to this industry. I was a lawyer. I was a litigator, in the courtroom, all that kind of thing. And when I started doing this, I'm like, well, am I selling lipstick really? And now I'm like, yeah, I get to sell lipstick because we have fun and women feel good and feel confident and powerful when we look good and feel good and we don't have to compromise our health to do that. So as advocates,
now we know that selling lipstick matters. Yeah. It really matters.
That's right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you do want to look good and you do want to feel your best.
We help people pick out shades. We help people get the right thing. So when you work with a brand advocate, you get concierge service because we know the ins and outs of the products and we can recommend things. Beautycounter has a great guarantee because, with e-commerce, you need to have that to be confident in the things that you choose. And I don't know about you, but the last time I went to a makeup counter, it's been many years actually. Everything is e-commerce now. It's just so convenient. So having, Kimberly, or myself or another brand advocate be able to help you make that selection that's just right for you is one of the fun things that we get to do. Definitely. Right.
So if we're wanting to get started, we can, reach out to a brand advocate or a Beautycounter advocate and have them kind of get you started from top to bottom. Like if we were having like a fun, like girls' night in or, bachelorette party and you wanted to, have like the clean products, I feel like that would be such a fun experience. So we can just have a Beautycounter advocate for something like that. Excellent. That is so awesome that again, coming from the retail space, I really, admire people that are they know their products. I know I worked for clothing and I knew all the designers. I knew the fits of every pair of jeans and I could look at you and be like, you need this, not that. And so it's so nice to have somebody like that can take the guesswork out, especially since you already know that the products are high quality and they're safe for you and your family. I feel like that's going to make all of the difference. So as we wrap up, I know I'm keeping you guys, right to the hour here. This has just been such a fun conversation. I have one last burning question before I let you guys give your spiels on how to stay connected. I'll also keep everything in the show notes if anybody wants to contact you guys for a Beautycounter advocate or a Beautycounter party or whatever they would like to have with you guys. But if you had one thing, and I feel like I can already guess what it's going to be. But if you had one thing that you wish that all women and men knew about their skin or their skincare, what do you think that it would be?
So this is what I struggle with people not knowing is when they know that they still don't revert back to trying to at least do clean. So I want them to know that it really matters what you put on your skin. It really, really, really matters what you put on your skin. And I would love for all men and women and children to just understand that and really kind of run forward with it and just not put that in the back of your head and tuck it in for a nice rainy day. Like I struggle with that. I'm like, why? Like you've learned this information. We have a never list. We have great clean products. We've got a whole list you can take to Target or Whole Foods with you, wherever, and just look on the back of a bottle. And you don't have to buy a beauty counter, but look for something that's clean and take care of yourself in the future. So.
That's an excellent one.
I love that. I forget the question, but that was the right answer.
What would you like all men and women to know about beauty or skincare? What is the one thing that you wish that everybody knew?
It's that. Kimberly, you did it. No, it really is. Like, ingredients matter. There was a great study that UC Berkeley did on teenage girls to see, like, using sort of traditional products with parabens and phthalates and other just really common ingredients, and then products that did not have those. And it wasn't very long before their bodies, they didn't, like, it's something that, as opposed to other chemicals like PFAS, which Kimberly mentioned. And if you know what PFAS are, everybody knows what it is, because if you've ever used a nonstick pan, there's a reason that egg slides right off. It has this coating that's a chemical that every human on the planet almost has in our bodies, because that's a persistent chemical that it's really hard for it to get out of your body. It kind of doesn't go away. But these other chemicals, they do. So when you choose safer ingredients, like, it can make a difference right away, because no one exposure is going to cause, this problem. And I don't want anybody to walk away from this thinking, oh, great, I'm the one that caused my, health issue or fertility struggle. Like, it's not as simple as that. But goodness, if I can make a choice that's easy and also beautiful, like, all things being equal, ingredients matter. So choose the safer one. And I love what Kimberly said. Beauty counter doesn't have to be your choice. Choose safer, because that's our mission, is to get safer products into the hands of everyone, not beauty counter. Now, you'll love beauty counter if you get some of that in your hands. But we want everyone to be more informed and choose safer ingredients. So we're pretty aligned on that, Kimberly.
And Beauty Counter, we are called brand advocates because we do advocate, and there's no other company, no other beauty brand that's out there advocating for better laws to be put in place. So, and we've already brought the needle up since 2013. So we're doing our job, and I think it's a company and brand advocates that you can trust and lean on for your clean beauty, and just even for advice for clean beauty if it's if you have a product at home that you are just curious about. But you're going to love Beauty Counter, I promise.
I couldn't agree with both of those answers more. I feel the same way. Once at this day and age, I feel like it's all around us all the time. You can't not know that what you're putting on your body is important. The fragrances that you're putting in the air with candles or perfumes are also extremely important. So at this point, you can't just neglect that those things exist, especially if you have children around you. And then when people talk about the cost of, clean products or swapping out everything that they have for cleaner products, when you look at, maybe, again, like you said, it doesn't all boil down to this one thing, but what it would maybe cost to go through a different fertility journey. I mean, that's very expensive. What that may cost for your kids in the future, for your daughters, or having to go through treatments, like, all of those things do add up cost-wise as well. So if there's something that you could do to eliminate it, I'm sure if you asked anybody in those situations if they could have done something to at least help keep their bodies healthier, they would have said, yes, I would have absolutely done that. So I feel like that's kind of where I stand on if you're going to use a product on your skin every single day, or spray on your body, or have, a fragrance in your house, why not make it the best product available if it's something that you're around all the time? So I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time out to talk to me this afternoon. I feel like it's going to be so beneficial. And we have 98% female listeners. So I'm hoping they can all hear this and learn. Yeah. And learn so much. Anything that you guys wanted to plug, anything that Beautycounter is coming out with soon, or if you wanted to give a shout out for your connections with Beautycounter so people can get in contact with you directly.
So you can look. I have an Instagram. I'll have to share it with you, I think, because it doesn't have it's my initials. It's KBP Sherman. It's my Instagram.
Perfect.
And my Facebook is just Kimberly Sherman. So I'll have to send those to you if you don't mind. And then
perfect. I'll have them in the show notes.
Share my I do have a Beautycounter website that you can look at. And first-time buyers, if you go through my website, will get a 20% discount on your first order. So you can load up on your first order because that's a huge discount. There are several ways to start with clean beauty, and one is just to be a client and start on your own journey with clean beauty. Another is our Band of Beauty membership, which is $29 a year. And Beautycounter will send you a free gift. And you also get 100 free shipping with a $100 order or more. And you also receive 10% back of your order towards your next order. Does that make sense? So if your order is $100, you'll have $10 for your next order. So really the $29 is just a no-brainer. And then there is hosting pop-ups or bachelorette parties like you were talking about. It's another way to get involved. And then the last is join us. The more voices we have, the faster our needle will grow and our mission will grow. So lots of choices to get involved.
Excellent.
The more voices, the bigger impact.
Yeah.
The more change. So, and my Instagram handle is at NC Jennifer because I'm in North Carolina. And that, and would love to connect. Kimberly and I partner, and we love to, again, like you said, welcome other brand advocates if this is something that kind of resonates with someone. Like it sparked for me. For Kimberly, she was like, people need to know about this. For me, I was like, there seems to be something wrong with the chemicals out there. What's a better option? Whatever it is, we can help you be part of what we're creating. And then just getting on a product. And, budgets are a reality now more than ever. The inflation and our marketplace has shifted a lot in the last year or two. And I know one of the benefits of working with Kimberly or me is that we help you stretch your dollar as far as possible because we care about that. And that's what we do as well. And I know every brand advocate really takes pride in that. Like we have such a huge loyalty in our business model because brand advocates just go the extra mile to make sure that their clients are so well taken care of. So it's like Amazon Prime, but 100 times better. You save money, you get perks, it's convenient, and you have like your own person that helps you with troubleshooting. Or so many times people will get 3 or 4 products and they're like, what do I actually do with these? And I'm like, let me help you. So that's what we're here for.
Excellent. Well, I'm so excited to be talking with you guys today. I really appreciate it so much. I will have all of your details listed in our show notes. So if any of the listeners are interested, please link down below and you can find all their information if you want to contact them or purchase anything from Beautycounter. And I hope to connect with you guys again in the future. This has been amazing.